Nelson Mandela, one of Africa's greatest leaders and freedom fighters, once stated that education is one of the best tools that can be used to fight and change the world. At Moyo, Uganda, we also believe in this. Moyo is a very young organization recognized as charitable, supporting orphans, half-orphans, and very poor children in Uganda. The organization is located in Mbale district in Bukende sub-county and Bukende village. Mbale lies on the foot of Mount Elgon, the imposing towers of over 4,321 meters. Quite in the air, the Mountain Elgon National Park is a paradise for hikers and a commonly known hotspot of visitation to tourists in Uganda. Mbale is in the center of Ugandan coffee cultivation, and in the city there is a lot of much of the greenery that you find in it. However, one of the challenges that was found in the area after research was the huge number of girls failing to access schools due to a number of reasons that range from the biting poverty to the lack of sensitization of parents and caregivers, among others. Through the kind support of Mara Bosset, the director, and Christina Kamara, some of the founders of Moyo, the project has been able to stand and supporting children in Uganda. Florence Buluba of Moyo, Uganda, and explains to us how they have been able to reach out to this needed community.
Community-based organization that was established with support from the Germany team led by Madame Mara Bosset. This is an initiative that was set up to help a girl child, where we found that the position of the girl child in this particular community was so alarming, and we thought that there was a need to promote this particular community so that we enhance the education of these children. Moyo so far has enrolled about 30 students, both girls and boys, who are actually being helped in building their skills, not only in education, but also in other hands-on activities. We feel this is going to promote the children.
On the ground is Prosi Nachitandwe, one of the field and office staff of this young organization. Prosi has been working on the ground, assessing most of the happenings, and credits Moyo for its efforts. She narrates to us how the whole project came to be.
Before Moyo came in, based on the girl child, we carried out a situation analysis. That was before we enrolled the children in school. We find that these children were facing so many challenges in their homes. Take an example. They were facing sexual harassment, whereby their guardians were the ones who were carrying it out on them, leaving them in a situation whereby they could not be happy living in a family. Another challenge these children were facing poor feeding. We find that in most families, the children were living on one meal a day instead of 3 meals, and others they could even go without anything. Some of them were just feeding on porridge, hence leading to hunger in family. Another challenge is about poor accommodation. Most of the children were sleeping in very poor sleeping conditions, like sleeping on mats, sleeping on just old clothes, no mosquito nets, which was leading to more diseases like malaria. Because that time we went there, most of them were not looking good, they were sickly. Another challenge, there was mistreatment in the family, whereby you find that most of the boys were favored compared to the girls, this leading to loss of esteem in the girls.
A number of children through our education center have benefited immensely through the support of our German friends. We have been able to reach out to the girl child that have for long been marginalized by both society and their parents. The recent survey by the United Nations indicated that Uganda still struggles with the challenge of early pregnancies. The reasons was low levels of education attained by them. The survey indicated that 57% of girl child access school at the early ages, which is 0 to 15 years. However, by secondary level, only half of these are still in school. Bukiende village is not any different. Our visit shows girls of school-going age sent to farms where they spend most of the day while their counterparts, the boys, are in school.
So after locating the place, Mara and her team went ahead to develop a plan which came up with this first block as an initiative to accommodate 30 students. We carried out a situation analysis. We went around the village. We sighted out the very needy homes with children some of them were malnourished, some were not going to school, especially girls, and they were the girls whom we looked at were not actually in that position of going to school. The parents and the guardians were not taking them to school. They were at home doing the cooking, looking after the goats, doing the preparation of the food for the boys to come back and eat. We thought that this was not fair for a girl child, and those ones whom we found out that they were experiencing such, we had to identify them. We carried out, it was a process. We interviewed a few parents who actually confirmed the need for those kids to be brought on board.
As Kwa Moyo Uganda, our vision initially was to really build a center for girls only. When we were there and did it, the work started off, but we saw a need that boys too needed to be educated, and we incorporated them into this training. We also took up a dormitory for girls, and we preferred to build small homes in which at least 16 orphans stay with the mom. In the region, there is unimaginable numbers of orphans in Mbale. Due to this larger number of needy children, we could not simply exclude the boys from our project, though we had initially meant it to be for girls.
In Feb, we were able to open the school. The school is currently accommodating 31 students. We have 10 boys and 21 girls. Why did we have to bring in the boys? We thought that concentrating on the girls alone was not going to create an impact. We had to include 10 boys so that the girls get a challenge. And in what we are doing was try to show the girls that, the boys, that the girls are equally talented and they can perform other than the boys alone. So that is the trend we are going through in having Moyo Center start. These are the initial stages, but we have a plan of moving on with the 31 children into another process.
In Uganda, just like any other country, men have a clear advantage over women in access to control over resources, while cultural practices also bestow men with more power than women in different aspects. The current national constitution includes elements of national, economic, and social rights that help to underpin efforts to the mainstream gender equality in policies and programs, but high levels of poverty and resilience of patriarchal social construct play a big role in constraining impact of many well-intentioned policies.
Yeah, Morocco Sam, the LOC3 chairman, key in the sub-county where we are, and where it happens, Moyo Education Center is located and tend to be a great beneficiary to the Moyo Education Center, but not as an individual, but to my people in the communities.
Trends in gender parity at primary and secondary school levels have however remained low for the past decade. Access to primary school. The recent data from the Ministry of Education on enrollment shows that the trend of girl enrollment in primary school has risen high. According to the recent data, the data indicates that 87% of girls between ages of 6 to 12 can attend schools, and the ratio of boys to girls attending school is 87.3% to 86.9%. Though this is in this nature, the tendency of higher education today compared to 10 years ago could show way further lower figures. There are regional differences, with the highest attendance rates in the eastern region with 94.3% of boys and 93% of girls, and the lowest is in the northern region where only 84% of boys and 80% of girls do attend school. The trends, however, show a clear move towards parity in access between boys and girls and towards universal enrollment of school-age population at primary level.
It was identified as a needy village with situations of girls being mishandled. How are they being mishandled? These girls are the ones who are actually falling victims of cultural norms, which indicate that which actually pins down the femininity of a girl, that she has to stay at home, that she has to look after the sick, that she has to do the cooking, while the boy child has to go out and maybe look after the goats and the cows, and even go to school. So when we identified that, we made sure that we bring out this girl. That is where we are now.
My name is Julius Hauha. Currently serving as a field manager for Moyo Education Center. They started by putting up a school, and this school actually has been an answer, because this school is mainly targeting the girl child, which was a very good intervention. Now we have a good number of girl children that are coming to school. This will reduce on the school dropouts. It will reduce on the early marriages, and I think Moyo village will also come up after this, supporting the girl child.
The Moyo Projekt has been able to start up the following as a way of reaching out to the needy population in Uganda. Together with the officials of the Mbale region, we agreed on a ratio of about 6% girls and 40% of boys to be enrolled into the system. Our Children's Village and Education Center, the Moyo Children's Village and Education Center, should include a kindergarten and a preschool, which is a nursery, a primary school, and much later a secondary school. 6 small homes of about 16 orphans living together with a mother tendering for them. A training center for future-oriented professions is also underway. A farm operation to generate income for the center, but also to the young people about organic farming. A small health center is also to be built. Now, after the completion of the primary school, of course, not only the children will be able to go to secondary school or high school. With our training facility, we can ensure that these do not go back onto the road but learn craft for commercial occupation. For example, since the seamstress produce something, even during the training, we hope there is simultaneous income for the center to generate from this.
The project has so far been moving on well. We have got the support of the community, and we are trying as much as possible to encourage, to involve the parents of these children, parents and guardians of these children. We thought that we needed to have them participate. We are introducing income generating activities on the center. We try to teach them how to make soap, both liquid and solid, and we are trying to see how they can get involved in the mushroom making and the chicken rearing. We feel that these are things that can empower, especially a woman, so that she's able to sustain herself other than depending on the husband.
It has done a lot to us and it's doing a lot. We thank for the way children are being brought up, educationally, physically, health-wise. There is a great change which is in these children here. They are not like the time they came. They used to fall sick every other time, but now their health is so good. and they love school so much.
What makes us so proud is that all founding members are volunteers. Among other things, that the Children's Charity Plan International and other humanitarian organizations have gained experience in different development cooperation in different ways. When traveling by the many developing countries, we felt again and again the girls have much poorer chances in life than the boys. Therefore, we also need to support the girls in every project and the international campaign that has been started under the theme "Because I Am a Girl." At Kwa Moyo, we all feel the African continent should be very connected to the rest of the world that children can achieve their goals.